So you may be asking yourself, what is PowerShell? Is it a command line shell? Is it a scripting language? Why, yes, it is. Sort of. While many people see it as a scripting language or a command line interface, those are only part of the puzzle. It's really an execution engine that provides the ability for you to interface with your environment using a variety of tools. So it may be easier to show you than to explain. So let's take a look at PowerShell. This is what many people see as PowerShell. This is the command line interface or CLI shell where we can issue commands, where we can run scripts, and we can also do many of the other things that we would do through this other standard Windows CLI, command.exe. So we can issue commands in here. So if I wanted to see the services, I could do a get-service. That's the commandlet for that. Do a CLS, which is basically does a clear screen and brings me up to the top. If I type in ISE, this will launch another tool, Windows PowerShell ISE or Integrated Scripting Environment. This is another piece of PowerShell, and this allows you to also run commands. So if we go down to the ISE window down here, we type in get-service. We see it runs our services. We can modify the size of the window if we want to see this better. This also allows us to create scripts. So the ISE is the scripting engine that we want to utilize when we get into scripting, and we'll talk about this in a few modules. So I could save this as a PowerShell script, and we'll call this M1 demo, and it saves it as a .ps1, which is the extension used for PowerShell. So that's another tool for accessing PowerShell to run commands against the system. And the last tool we're going to take a look at is Server Manager. So Server Manager is the centralized management tool in Windows Server 2012. And this allows us to work with many of the things on Windows Server. And this also runs PowerShell. Everything that we're doing in here runs PowerShell. So if we choose to add roles or features, that is going to issue PowerShell commands to do all of that in the background. So let's show you an example. So we'll go to the Active Directory Administrative Center, which is another tool that we can use that utilizes PowerShell to work with our Active Directory environment. So if I go into my Active Directory environment here, I'm just going to go into an OU that I created for marketing in here. And I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to create a new user. And we'll call this user John Demo, JDemo for the UPN. We'll just make it simple, click OK, because we're not really concerned about, what we're really creating. What we're concerned about is that this is actually creating a user. So we created the user here. Now notice down here it says the Windows PowerShell history. So if I click on the up arrow, look at that. This shows me all of the commands that are being issued when I create that user. So notice that 3 commandlets were utilized in order to create that John demo. And then what's nice is I can expand these out so I can see the full command. I can also highlight that. I could copy that, and then I could put that into the ISE, and now I could go in and I could break this down to see how this works. I could also modify this and rerun it. So that is PowerShell, and these are all of the tools that work with PowerShell and Windows to perform all the work.